health, things like heart health and preventing things like cancer get a ton of attention.
That's right, but few people realize the important relationship between the health of our feet to our overall well-being.
Well, April is Foot Health Awareness Month, and Dr. Brian Buchanan is a foot and ankle specialist with the Spectrum Health Medical Group.
And he's here today to talk to us about what we should be thinking about and to talk about a free seminar that you have coming up. So I have to say that looking at what Rachel and I wear in studio on our feet, you must be thinking, that's job security.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we see patients all day long, whether it's in the office or outside in the street, that have these type of shoes on, most notably high heels. And sometimes for people that don't do a lot of walking and are more office-based, it's fine. But for those that are on the street a lot, doing a lot of walking, we do see a lot of injuries from them and a lot of long-term complications.
Yeah, I've started in my age and wisdom bringing a couple pairs to work, you know, maybe one that's on the show and one that's a little bit behind the scenes. What are some problems that people come to you and say that they have?
Well, everything from injuries to mostly foot pain. And we see a lot of foot pain related to high heel shoes with forefoot problems, meaning bunions, toe contractures, toenail issues, ankle sprains, things like that. So there's basically, and I tell people what I do for a living, they never really understand how many things we treat and all the stuff that actually can happen.
Right, and you know, you have a list here of just important really maintenance things we should all do regularly for our feet. Can you tell us why those are important?
Absolutely. First thing is, don't ignore foot pain. We hear a lot of people come in that have had foot pain for 6 to 12 months. They just think they couldn't do anything about it or that it would just go away. And a lot of times these don't go away. And the longer they linger, the harder it is for me to get rid of them. Make sure you look at your feet every day. And that's really important for people that are diabetic or have any type of sensory problems with their feet. Those are the people that end up losing limbs from these things that can be saved. Wash your feet daily sounds very simple.
That sounds easy.
But there are a lot of people that when they come in, particularly older people that don't have the help, and that you take for granted how easy it is to wash, let's say between your toes or in certain parts of your foot that they haven't really touched in months. And so that can obviously turn into a big problem for them.
Yeah, so trimming your toenails, making sure your shoes fit properly. You know, there are a lot of different solutions, you know, that you talk about too, to really prevent this from happening in the first place. And you think about it, our feet take a lot of wear and tear. We're on them a lot. And some people work standing up as well, which makes it even more intense. Yeah, so what do you tell people to do?
Okay, a couple different things. One is make sure your shoes fit, and that sounds simple, but a lot of people, let's say someone in their 40s or 50s, will think that they're the same size they were in high school. And you go and get fitted or get measured, and you'll find my foot's grown 1 to 1.5 sizes. A lot of that has to do with the fact that your arch does collapse in most people as you get older, and your foot gets longer. So if you're running when you're 30 and the same size you were in high school, it could be okay, but there's a chance you may come back from that run and have a toenail that's black and blue, or have a blister at the tip of your toe and realize maybe that's a reason to get a new pair of shoes or something that's longer or better for your foot.
I can attest to this because we did talk about this on the show when Terry and I were doing our race in the fall. I think it was a combination of shoes that didn't fit for running, because you have to allow yourself a little space too, and then the toenail issue. You know, having that a little long, as you get a pedicure, you do your nails, they tend to keep it a little bit longer.
That's a big problem.
But that causes a lot of pain.
And your toenail completely fell off.
It did.
It'll go back.
Yeah, it's on its way now too, but it did cause a lot of unnecessary pain in the process.
Well, and I have to ask too, because it just dawned on me when you were talking about getting the proper fit. A lot of people buy shoes online, and you can't always just rely on that, hey, I'm a size 8, I'm an 8.5, because there are a lot of people wearing shoes that maybe they weren't necessarily properly fitted for.
Absolutely, and that is one of the things, and it's brand specific also. Some size 8s are not size 8s in another brand, and it may not fit you. So, I mean, one of the best things online is to pick a site, and Zappos most notably, where you can return for free. So you can buy, and I know my wife does this, she'll buy 5 pairs of shoes. And,
so she tells you she's trying to get the right fit,
exactly.
right?
That's right.
Even though she says she'll return 4, she may return 1, but still, it's you know, she gets to try them on and then get rid of the ones she doesn't like.
That's really wonderful.
And one of the things too, you know, we're coming up on summer, and it's spring right now. You say to avoid walking barefoot. Why is that?
Well, it depends on what you're doing. Once again, I'm a big moderation basically kind of guy. So if you're barefoot outside a lot, you do run the risk of injury. That's the biggest thing we see. And we see it with puncture wounds,
Yeah.
we see it with foreign bodies and splinters, toenail injuries, things like that that can be prevented. And we see a lot of them in kids, and my kids do the same thing, even though I tell them not to, where they run outside barefoot all the time, and it's just a matter of time before they're going to have something wrong with their foot.
Right, you're not always watching what's on the ground, you're
Exactly.
watching what's ahead of you.
I know, I remember I think I was 5 or 6 years old, I stepped on a bee in bare feet. Let
Oh,
me
yeah.
tell you, that's one you don't want to do.
Or a piece of glass or a nail.
Absolutely.
Horrible, horrible. And so you have an event coming up. It's free to attend that really talks about some of the things that we've been covering today. Why don't you tell us about
Yeah,
it?
kind of. This talk is coming up on and it should be on May 5th at Spectrum Health United Memorial Hospital. This one's actually on total ankle replacement, so this is not related to the things we're talking about today. Basically, this is a new treatment option that's been out for the last 5 years or so for patients that have chronically painful degenerative ankles. So it's an advanced procedure, but it's one we've been doing now for about a year, and have been getting some pretty good outcomes.
That's wonderful. And of course, if people have any other kind of issues related to their feet or their ankles, getting in quickly for an appointment is the best strategy for
That's
overall
really,
long-term
yeah,
health.
that's really the key to get you better as quickly as possible.
We got to depend on these 2 feet. It's
All
the
right.
only one we have, right?
I agree, me too.
Thank you, Dr. Buchanan.
Thank you very much
It's
for
been really
having me.
helpful. We'll be right back.
Are you West?